Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Rank where I climb the online series 10 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Today we're featuring a rank number 1 Zacian team with Suicune and Volcarona as support. This team is a little bit more standard than some of the teams we've used recently, but it's actually been about a month or so since I last featured Zacian, and I still think, Zacian continues to be one of, if not the best restricted Pokemon in the format, and it is a team that is just super strong, super consistent, and very good to climb the ladder with as well. It also teaches you a lot of fundamentals, I think, about VGC, and so, yeah, wanted to feature this team, and also, like, Suicune and Volcarona are two Pokemon that are really good in Series 10, and I feel like they really get to shine on this team in particular. So, even though, you've seen most of these Pokemon already, I do want to talk about some stylistic choices in terms of team building. This is a team that was built by a player called Selene. I've linked their Twitter down in the description below, as well as a rental and a pace, so huge thank you to them for providing the team. And yeah, let's just dive into things. First thing you'll note is that Rillaboom here has Wood Hammer. Now, the Wood Hammer is a really nice tech specifically into the Choice Scarf Kyogre plus Serena matchup. When Santee won the Players' Cup 25th Invitational with that duo, that obviously skyrocketed in terms of popularity, and nothing feels worse than having a Rillaboom out against a Kyogre and not being able to actually hit the Kyogre for super effective damage because they have a Serena on their team. The Wood Hammer here is a really nice tech, and part of it is you'll know that Suicune is Snarl, Urshifu also has Wicked Blow and Sucker Punch. So normally you'll run knockoff on Rillaboom to deal specifically with Calyrex Shadow Rider. Obviously it helps against getting rid of items in general, but it's really good in the Calyrex Shadow Rider matchup. Well, because you have Suicune and Urshifu on the team, with Dark-type attacks, Calyrex Shadow Rider isn't as scary to play against as it normally would be. So you can make the decision to run Wood Hammer. And so, this is just like a very small thing in team building, but it's an example of how you can improve certain matchups and drastically, basically, turn them into your favor. So now it's like if we go up against Serena plus Choice Scarf Kyogre, well, this Rillaboom alone just makes it so much easier to fight that duo. Urshifu here is very standard. Zacian is a really bulky Zacian with that Swords Dance. Swords Dance Zacian has really picked up in popularity recently. Sometimes you'll see play rough over Sacred Sword, but yeah, it's going to typically be, and I always have to explain this because people always ask, why is it Iron Head? That just turns into Behemoth Blade in-game when you have Rusted Sword, so it always is Behemoth Blade. But yeah, players will typically run either Sacred Sword or play rough, and then one of, Swords Dance Substitute, or one of the last moves that we just talked about offensively, if you want to run triple offense, for example. And so, this team actually doesn't have Incineroar. That normally helps with Fake Out and Intimidate cycling, but it's okay because you have Volcarona and Suicune instead. Landorus-I here is really standard offensively. This is a lot bulkier than a lot of Landorus-I's we've actually gone up against or used in the format. Really, really good defensive investment, but as a result, you are often going to be slower than the Pokemon around that speed tier, so keep that in mind. And then finally, Suicune plus Volcarona. Both of these Pokemon are awesome. Suicune in particular has actually really impressed me because, one, it actually does good amounts of damage and into a lot of common Pokemon in the format, right? For example, Landorus Incarnate form, you can just Ice Beam. Incineroar, you can just Scald. Scald is also really nice into a lot of restricted Pokemon, especially those that are physical that you can burn, things like Groudon or Zacian, for example. And Snarl is just really good utility. The Suicune is also just so bulky, and Inner Focus makes it so that you really punish an Incineroar lead. That's really important because Zacian obviously really doesn't like going up against Incineroar, so Pokemon like Suicune and Landorus basically make it a lot harder for your opponent to feel comfortable leading Incineroar, and if they do, you can potentially punish them with either your Suicune or your Landorus, especially if you lead those. Finally, this Volcarona set is really interesting. It's Fiery Dance, Rage Powder, String Shot, and Whirlwind. String Shot basically is another means of speed control. You can drop both of your opponent's speed, and it's something that I think very few people expect, so you have the nice element of surprise from that. Also means that you have another means of speed control rather than only relying on Tailwind from Suicune. With the Safety Goggles and Whirlwind, that in particular is really useful against setup strategies, especially Xerneas with Geomancy. Now, Xerneas obviously struggles a little bit into a lot of the Pokemon here, but it is still just a scary Pokemon. And Whirlwind just not only helps against Xerneas, but any Pokemon that wants to set up, even like opposing Zacians that want to Swords Dance, for example. And Trick Room users. That's actually one of the primary reasons you want to run Whirlwind. With Safety Goggles, you can't just easily go for like Amoonguss plus Trick Room user and set up Trick Room. And often the fun thing is against Trick Room setups, like you can lead like Volk plus Landorus, or Rillaboom plus Volk, for example, and either fake out their Fake Out user, Whirlwind their Trick Room user, or use Landorus to pressure with offense, because often the Fake Out user on those teams are going to be Pokemon like Incineroar, mainly Incineroar actually, so you can potentially just one-shot Incin, thus paving the way for Zacian in the late game. So, none of these Pokemon are super brand new, but we haven't really used Suicune or Volcarona very much. I think this team enables them really well, and it's just a really fun team that's very consistent as well. So huge thanks to Selene for the team. Details once again in the description below. Thank you to you all as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please show support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, I wanted to feature this team because I think it is very oriented for just, consistent play on the ladder. So I want to know if you have any tips to those wondering how you effectively climb the ladder. For me, I typically say, take breaks, especially after bad losing streaks. Change your teams between losing streaks as well. That's typically what helps me. Try to stick to the same team, especially if you're trying to climb like high and consistently. It's just easier once you figure out the small nuances of a team rather than switch to a brand new team every couple of days. That is what we do on Road to Rank, but as a result, I often have to lose a bunch of games and to fundamentally understand how they work before actually recording Road to Rank with each of them. So yeah, let me know your tips in the comment section below, and let's get started. Alright, first game of the day, and this actually has one of my all-time favorite Pokemon in Liepard. Rotom-H, Amoonguss, Cherrim, Entei, and Groudon. This is very bad for Zacian. This is not a good matchup for Zacian, okay. That's okay, that's okay. So let's figure out how to adapt and overcome. Lando is very good offensively. I think Entei Groudon lead for them is strong, but Suicune's actually decent into that. Rillaboom for Glide is not terrible here. Urshifu does have Wicked Blow in itself. I have to worry about getting burnt with this thing. If I lead Rillaboom into Entei, it's really bad. Volcarona has Rage Powder. Doesn't offer us much more. It does have String Shot actually, which gives us some speed control. The other lead I'm nervous about is Cherrim plus Groudon. You can Solar Blade. Okay, I think I'm gonna go Urshifu, Suicune, Landorus plus Zacian. My opponent's team reminds me very much of Wolfie's, Groudon, Entei, Cherrim team, but they just have a kind of faster mode with it. And I think in the matchup like this, I am primarily focused on not as much about Zacian. Zacian positioning is going to be really critical here because it still can be really strong. You just need to get it out in the right position. Yeah, it's Groudon plus Entei. Okay. I mean, this was the lead I was expecting because turn 1, it's a pretty free Protect Tailwind, I think. I'm leaning towards the most here. Maybe we don't even... it just, like, if I Protect, it bypasses the chance of getting burnt by Sacred Fire. And I really don't want to get burnt before I Wicked Blow. Even if they double up on Suicune, it's fine. Entei can't do very much into Suicune. And they Sacred Fire into us. Okay, good. Swords Dance would be scary here. But they go for Precipice Blades. Okay, nice. Okay, it's an okay start to the game then. Suicune, 2... we get crit. That's not great. I was going to say, that was a lot of damage. Obviously I don't love seeing that, but obviously like having Citrus here helps a little bit at least, so it could be worse. Not ideal, but it happens. If you're AV Entei, it could be Scarf Entei as well. Those are the two options. I'm not even sure Scald Wicked Blow KO it, like a double up there, which I don't love. I could spread my damage here. Yeah, I think I will double up on Entei in this position. If they're not AV and they're Scarf, maybe... Okay, they actually switch out. Into Cherrim, I'm okay with that actually, because I think this double up just KOs Cherrim. They're just trying to get a maximum power Precipice Blades off here with Flower Gift, which makes sense. I'm hoping Wicked Blow just brings it down to Sash and then Scald KOs it, but if not, maybe I should have Ice Beam that slot instead. Oh, that's going to survive. That's not good. That is really not good. Okay. Yeah, that did nothing. We do get the burn. Question here is whether or not they hit their Precipice Blades. I guess it doesn't make that much of a difference because Urshifu survives with Sash. Oh, even Suicune survives. Oh, I didn't expect that. Okay. I'm not sure I wanted that to survive, though. They're Wiki Berry. I'm going to Ice Beam Groudon here and Detect with Urshifu. I didn't think Suicune would survive that. That's impressive. Took a crit Precipice Blades and a Flower Gift boosted Precipice Blades and still hung on. The main thing is after an Ice Beam, like we can maybe double up on a Groudon with Blade and Wicked Blow, assuming Suicune goes down this turn. Entei in the back is still very scary though, especially if it's actually Scarf Entei, which I think it is. I should have Ice Beam to cover for the Cherrim switch in. They go for Helping Hand. Okay, that's fine. I guess just to cover for a Precipice Blades switch in, like if I were to go into Zacian here. Look at the smallest amount of chip with Ice Beam. Scald may have been better there just to fish for a burn, honestly. Hoping a Heat Crush and a Suicune. Okay, I guess that's just a hard read, covering a switch. I could have gotten Wicked Blow off there, but that's okay. Now I get Zacian in for free, which is really good. With Zacian, we have +1 Behemoth Blade, we have Wicked Blow. I think I just double up here into the Groudon slot. Fairly obvious target, though. There's only one turn of Tailwind left, 2 turns of Sunlight. Yeah, I think I will make the double up here. Lando's going to be our answer into Entei. And they don't protect Groudon. Okay, nice. Lando's our answer into Entei. And Sun is about to expire after the next turn. Groudon hangs on, that's fine. I think Wicked Blow should finish it off. Unless it's a bulky non-citrus here. It's one of the bulkier berries. I don't even know if Wicked Blow KOs here. That's close. I feel like we actually might fall short of the knockout. Okay, we get it. Nice. That's good. Groudon faints. And they go for Pollen Puff onto Urshifu. So now I get Landorus out. I can double protect. And then we go from there. Sun expires after then. And then I'm at mercy of getting burnt by Sacred Fire, basically. Yeah, the Cherrim switching was very good on there, and I feel like I could have maybe read into it a little bit better. Or you bring Entei out right now. Okay. So far, my opponents brought all the Pokemon we've expected them to. No major surprises there. I don't really see much reason to not double protect here. If you're my opponent, you should withdraw Cherrim out into whatever your fourth is. They don't, though. They just... Oh, I guess they're just going for Helping Hand Sacred Fire. We honestly might survive that, though, I think, after the sun's over, onto either Pokemon. Because we're pretty bulky with both. Meaning then we could just pick up a double knockout with Earth Power and Sacred Sword, respectively, or Blade, respectively. Okay. Flower Gift reverts. You no longer have the boosts. What were their possible switch-ins into the Charm slot here? Amoonguss, Rotom. I think it's fine just blading. If Rotom's their last one... Actually, Rotom should be their last one, right? It's fairly likely. It's Amoonguss or Liepard. You actually can't really win the game, so I will actually Sacred Sword here. And Earth Power. I'm guessing their play is to just go for Helping Hand again. And Sacred Fire, but like I said, I think we can actually survive with both, potentially. I don't know, maybe not on Zacian. Actually, Zacian probably faints even with the bulk that we have. So maybe I needed to go for a double protect there. I also, right now, don't know if they're actually Scarfed or not. That was just the assumption I made earlier, but... Actually, good chance they're Assault Vest. They actually switched the Entei out. It is Rotom, okay. Now, that's kind of surprising to me, though, because you just give up your Helping Hand pressure. I did walk into that, though. Yeah. I think now the play I really want to make is to protect the Zacian and Earth Power into Entei. Especially because we know we're very bulky Landorus here. And I could have subbed last turn, but I feel like that's a little bit risky to go for. This whole time I've been playing assuming it was Scarf Entei, but it very likely could be AV. I'm just wondering if there was any point where we could have confirmed the item on it. Okay, so Zacian's going to protect. Nah, they do Sacred Fire into Lando. We should survive this, though. Oh, that didn't even do half. Wow. That's impressive bulk. And they Will-O-Wisp into Zacian. That works for me. Okay, we get Earth Power off. Yep, that was Scarf, not AV, I'm pretty sure. Cool. That's not bad. That burn's definitely a little unfortunate, but it happens. I think honestly here we just Sacred Sword. There's no need for a substitute right now. Sub would prevent like Overheat from KOing here, but if you Overheat Landorus, then Overheat doesn't KO Zacian, so I'm fine just the Sludge Bomb here. The bulky spreads of both the Landorus and the Zacian here are really, really nice for us. They actually are just going to commit Overheat. Okay, that's fine. And Zacian's bulky enough to survive that. Beautiful. Yeah, EV spreads for a team like this are so critical, and the Landorus and Zacian are both just so beautifully EV spread. Or they both have beautiful EV spreads. So, yeah, on paper, this doesn't look like the best matchup, right? Like Rotom, Groudon, and Entei into Zacian doesn't look amazing. In the end, Zacian was still really critical. It was just about positioning in the correct position, and we were fortunate that Groudon didn't protect that one turn, because we were able to just get the knockout onto it, so that was really, really critical. But yeah, I think like them not having Incineroar honestly made things easier because they at least couldn't intimidate us, and I think the best play for them was probably to just helping hand Sacred Fire into Zacian. I just don't know whether or not that KOs with the bulk that we have, because this isn't like, you know, 4 HP Zacian's 252 HP Zacian. I'm not sure. I think they might have been better off with that play rather than just giving up Cherrim for free and getting no helping hand off of it instead. So, yeah. Either way, though, fun way to get started with this team. And you can see how it's really well built and has answers even into what looks like it could be a really bad matchup. All right, getting into the next game here. Really cool to see Toxicroak. It's a Calyrex Ice Rider team. They also have their own Suicune, which is cool. So, Volk and Zacian... Suicune. These three I think must come. They're all really good into Calyrex Ice Rider. Question is what I want is number 4. Probably not Land. It's I want a Urshifu for Rillaboom. We don't have Rock Slide on Lando. If we did, I'd think about it a little bit more to counter their Volk. I like leading Suicune here a lot. I lean towards Rillaboom mainly because if I don't, my damage output against Suicune is actually pretty subpar. Because that Urshifu does have crit Wicked Blow into Calyrex specifically, and that's a pretty big reason to bring it. I also, okay, if they wanted to get Trick Room up, what would you lead? Toxicroak plus Mimikyu? You really go that route? The Trick Room route does feel stronger for them. Toxicroak plus Mimikyu. I'm gonna try Suicune plus Volcarona, Zacian in the back, and then Urshifu or Rillaboom here. I think I'm just gonna go with Urshifu because like I just want as many good answers into their restricted mon, which is Calyrex, and Rillaboom is just a lot more subpar into that. Like, Rillaboom just gets demolished by Glacial Lance and can't do that much to Calyrex in return. Whereas with our Urshifu here, we pressure with Wicked Blow, we have priority Sucker Punch, even if Trick Room goes up, and we have Focus Sash. So they're going with Mimi plus, I think it is Croak, yeah. You're probably gonna fake out... Well, actually, the fun thing here is that both Pokemon actually get access to Roar / Whirlwind. So... I'm down to Scald into Mimikyu and Whirlwind into it. They'll probably get Trick Room up, but even with Trick Room up, it's fine, I think. Because neither of these Pokemon put on that much pressure right now going into turn 2. Cold Burn on Mimikyu would be fantastic. It's fine if we don't, though. Ideally, they try to set up Trick Room, but they fake... Oh, actually, you can't fake out Suicune. They're always clicking fake out into Volcarona. Or Gunk Shot, I guess. Didn't KO us, though. Good damage. And it poisons. Not sure I love that, but it's okay. Oh, wow. They didn't go for Trick Room. That's a very good decision on their end. Okay. I think I'm okay with that, though, because as long as Trick Room doesn't get set up, Zacian looks really good. Break Disguise. We'll take their damage, and we'll force them out. I guess the problem is if Calyrex gets forced in here, now they can just maybe click Trick Room with that. They have They know I have Whirlwind now. Gunk Shot into Volk again seems like a fairly decent possibility. Got Urshifu in the back, which is good. Honestly, here I'm down to just Scald. and Fiery Dance into Toxicroak, I think. Okay, they switch back out into Mimikyu. That's fine. The thing is, I'm just waiting for the free switching into Zacian right now. Oh, they actually gunk shot Suicune. Okay. A lot of damage. Really impressive. But that's okay. That is okay. Aridan should be okay damage here. Very good damage, actually. Nice. And we get another Scald Off. Okay, that's not bad. And we get a burn on Mimikyu. Nice. Now for my opponent, what would I do? I would Gunk Shot Volcarona and then Trick Room. Oh, Volk and Trick Room. I was actually really smart of them not to knock out Volk because it denies me a free switching into Zacian right now. And it was also very smart of them to not Trick Room on turn 1. Like, yeah, they played the early game nicely. Ice Beam to knock out Toxicroak here and then switch out into Zacian is what I lean towards. The problem is now they can potentially just self-Shadow Sneak, but we are bulky Zacian. We might even take a +2 high horsepower from their end. Yep, Gunk Shot. Toxicroak was just a much larger offensive threat than I gave it credit for going into this game. It's pretty impressive. Yep. Gunk Shot Trick Room is always the safest play for them to make there. I can't cover for both options. I guess I could have gone Fiery Dance onto Mimikyu there because Gunk Shot's accuracy isn't exactly the highest. If you miss, you're in terrible shape. Oh, they bring Volk out. Huh. Okay, Volk coming in is actually pretty interesting. I don't mind that very much. I have Scald, obviously, but I can also Snarl it. Yeah, I guess my Zacian is completely walled right now. This might have Will-O-Wisp as well into us. Okay, I think here I'm down to Snarl and then switch back out into Volk. Oh, if they're weakness policy, it just activated policy, so that was not a smart idea. I should always be Scalding there just because of the threat of policy. Yeah. I got a little baited there. Maybe they're not policy, but I don't know. When you have Mimikyu on the team, I'm like almost confident it is going to be weakness policy. That just makes the game... That actually probably just wins them the game, so great play. Unless we miss Snarl here. We missed the wrong Pokemon. Unless you're not actually weakness policy and they're like bluffing it and they have White Herb instead. Yeah. That was just poorly done on my end. Just Heat Wave. The miss on Volk is actually really unfortunate. Because if we hit that, like, okay, it's still totally doable with Urshifu here, though, I think. I don't know how fast their Volk is. Yeah, if we hit that Volk, then the Heat Wave just does so much less damage to my Zacian, so, like, the worst case scenario. I should have just Scalded, though. I didn't respect the policy enough there, and that was my bad. How fast is your Volcarona is the other question right now, basically. I can fish for a burn here. Just whether or not I want to just straight up click Wicked Blow anyway, assuming we outspeed Volk. You know what, I'm just going to Wicked Blow here, I think. They don't Rage Powder, okay. And we also outspeed Calyrex, which I wasn't expecting. No burn, unfortunately. Okay. That really didn't do as much to Urshifu as I thought it would. Okay. We get the KO with Wicked Blow. Wow. Not bad. Man, if we just hit the Snarl on Volk, this actually was probably just a win outright. Just Heat Wave. I think Urshifu survives. That's close. Suicune survives though, okay. This is intense. So I get my fully healthy Zacian out, but obviously against a, like, this is where missing Snarl, like, not only resulted in an Urshifu KO, but also resulted in, yeah, me now feeling forced to Snarl. But I also misplayed by activating that weakness policy. I feel like that was like the only way I could really let my opponent get back into the game, and I gave it to them, unfortunately. Yeah, the problem is I don't think I can deal enough damage to Volk at this point in the game. I am just gonna Scald and the Blade. You probably just Shadow Sneak Suicune, right? And Heat Wave. If I just Scalded that turn, I don't activate the policy, the Urshifu just takes the attacks way better. They don't Shadow Sneak, which is interesting. There's a lot on Volk. Okay, they're buried, yeah. Could miss Heat Wave in this position, though. Or Play Rough. Okay, Play Rough's gonna connect. Probably gonna be GG then. We're hoping for at least one Heat Wave miss right now. And it is gonna connect, yeah. Okay, they still need to hit another one, though, so we could still win off another miss. I also could have bladed into Volk here. That may have just been the better play, because I don't think Mimikyu really has offense into us. But I think we're basically hoping for a crit Behemoth Blade onto Volk, or them missing a Heat Wave. My main mistake here was just Snarling. Snarling was... You know, honestly, though, the thing is, if we hit the Volcarona, I'll actually take that trade-off, but I think in that position, I should just be Scalding the Volcarona slot. Because, like, my opponent had no offense into Suicune. They Quiver Dance. Okay, that makes sense. How slow is your Volcarona? You outspeed after Trick Room's over. It's not enough for a KO. No Flame Body. I assume you outspeed after, so they basically need to hit a Heat Wave. Also, that turn, like, I needed to call it correctly, and I did, but even then, they risked the crit there. And this Zacian isn't super speedy. But they miss Heat Wave! Oh my goodness, that's why you don't give up. Wow. I don't think they needed a Quiver Dance in that position. I think, like, I get the Quiver Dance, but then the thing is, by clicking Quiver Dance there, you have to hit one Heat Wave then. Whereas, if you just Heat Wave that first turn under Trick Room, well, I guess they were expecting, like, the expectation was me to protect. Then it's the same situation. No, but the thing is, if I protect her, I don't get a Behemoth Blade on 2, so I need 2 Behemoth Blades. But yeah, I mean, that's why you don't give up. Like, that was basically lost. But the thing is, Heat Wave can miss, right? 90% accurate, so 10% chance for them to miss. I guess it makes up for the Snarl miss, but to be honest, a game like this doesn't make me very happy because I just feel like I misplayed earlier on, and I didn't need to let my opponent get back into the game, and that Snarl was just a little bit careless. I think Scald was just better. But yeah, the Calyrex did a lot less with Glacial Lance than I expected, honestly, and its speed stat was also kind of weird, but I guess it makes sense given the context of my opponent's team. So yeah, that's why you don't give up. And I think it's better off for them to just Heat Wave, because even if I protect that last turn of Trick Room, even after protect there, then Trick Room expires and I still need a critical hit Behemoth Blade. If you Heat Wave and I don't protect, which is what I did, I just win the game. So yeah, those last 2 turns literally played out exactly how I needed them to. Obviously got really lucky to be there in the first place, but you know, I think if that Snarl hits the Volcarona, it's also just a very different game. So yeah, but at the end of the day, this is a great example where you can analyze all the RNG and also point to the fact that I could have prevented all of this just by playing better with Suicune. Because if Calyrex does not have its policy activated, you just have no way to actually damage Suicune. I guess what they could have done in that position, though, was switch Volk out into Calyrex. So that's why I think I always like Scalding the Volcarona slot, because it not only deals 50% to Volk, but also potentially burns Calyrex on a switch-in and deals damage to it. So in that position, like what my opponent could have done was switch Volk out into Calyrex and then potentially self-Shadow Sneak. I mean, I was really confused because Mimikyu also didn't Shadow Sneak the Suicune. They risked the play rough there instead. If they had Shadow Sneak, they should have just gone for it onto Suicune, because then you just get the KO onto it. And I don't get the Scald onto the Volcarona. So maybe they didn't have Shadow Sneak, but they were Weakness Policy Calyrex in the end. So I'm a little bit confused by that. Either way, though, yeah, I feel like I definitely did not play 100% well in this game. That miss was a little bit frustrating, but like I said, it's more frustrating because it was just a misplay, honestly, in my opinion, and like I had a better play there. And Suicune was honestly amazing in this one, as well as Volcarona, and I feel like I didn't even fully utilize them to their like true power. But yeah, shoutouts to both of them here. All right, final match of the day, and it's Zacian with Kommo-O. Oh man, oh, Kommo is actually a really big issue here. Now we do have Sacred Sword with Zacian, so we ignore Iron Defense boosts and Whirlwind on Volk and Ice Beam on Suicune. Maybe it's not as bad as I thought, but I don't know. I kind of just think our opponent's team is like a little bit faster and stronger than ours, which scares me. They also have Incineroar. We don't have Incin. I think Volk, Suicune, and Zacian are definitely must-brings. It's probably just Lando as number 4. Urshifu's really bad here. Doesn't really have super effective into anything. Rillaboom's only valuable for Fake Out, and primarily Woodhammer / Glide into their Suicune. That's actually a big enough reason to justify bringing Rillaboom. I just don't know if I love it here. Yeah, actually, like, if I don't bring Rillaboom, my damage output into their Suicune's really bad. Okay, I like Lando. It's just a Lecky. Oh, how do I deal with the Lecky? Maybe I have to bring Rillaboom. Who do I drop? Rillaboom, Lando. I don't know. I don't know who to drop here because I want Suicune to match their Tailwind, but the problem is my opponent's team is already probably going to be faster because we have so much bulk. So it's like, even if we match their Tailwind, they probably outspeed us anyway. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah, I'm not sure. Team preview was really hard here. And I think they just have like a slightly better matchup. Now they go Insane Kommo. Okay, I actually don't mind that very much. This is where Suicune would have been really nice though as a lead, because I could just Scald their Ice Beam it. Lando's in a pretty good spot here. I can just Fake Out Earth Power turn 1. Actually, like, yeah, I initially was really nervous about Kommo, but I'm actually pretty glad it's just out here on the field right now. So the main thing to cover for turn 1 is an instant switch out. What's their switch out into Earth Power? It would be Rillaboom. The easiest play is probably to actually just Fake Out Incin here and Earth Power the Kommo slot. I'm down for that. I wanted to get damage on Kommo to start. Yeah, so Incin does switch. That's probably Rilla coming in. Oh, they bring out Suicune. I'm actually okay with that, especially because I have Woodhammer. They don't protect Kommo, but I'm assuming, by the way, it's Iron Defense Body Press. It might be a different set. Huge damage on a Kommo. Okay, fantastic. Oh, they have sub, and they actually have enough HP to get the sub up. Is it leftovers? Oh. Okay. I mean, I think that's okay for now. What I can do is Woodhammer the Suicune and substitute with my own Landorus now. They're probably gonna, I would think you'd want to Ice Beam the Lando, but maybe you Tailwind. Yeah. That's fine, though. We're off to a decent start. And Iron Defense is okay. Oh, man. We were so close to just getting the KO. Or not the KO, but denying them sub. And if sub gets denied there, they're in terrible shape. Okay, not a KO into Suicune, but that's fine. Are you buried here? You're not. So that's in Glide KO range now. Okay, that's really important. That's very, very important. You would think now Suicune probably pivots out. Very few Suicunes carry Protect, though, meaning that I have a very free Glide into Earth Power. The risk here is if they're actually running Protect on Suicune. Like I said, most Suicunes don't run it, but if they do actually have it here, it becomes a different story. I could have gone Fake Out onto Kommo and Earth Powered onto a turn 1. Okay, yeah, they don't switch. They just give Suicune up. Perfect. That's actually also a big deal because Suicune's probably their best answer into my Landorus in this matchup. They're just going to Body Press. Okay, they break the sub. Yeah, Lando's a good target here because now my opponent's finally able to switch in their Zacian. Turn 1 felt so good, but then the sub went up. Sub, Iron Defense, Body Press, Protect. Yeah, that makes sense. I shouldn't even be surprised by sub. I just, yeah, thought we did enough to cover for the sub. So probably a very close damage roll there, but I can't complain. Yeah, the issue is now my opponent gets in Zacian for free, and they can sub. Like, what you can do is bring out Zacian, Behemoth Blade, our Landorus, and sub with Kommo-O. Like, this is where maybe I should have brought Suicune instead. I guess Volcarona is really good against these. So, like, what I can do is pivot out, U-turn into Zacian. Double sub is now what I'm really nervous about. I actually didn't bring Rillaboom, which I'm kind of surprised about. Okay. Yeah, they just go for Behemoth. I mean, maybe this goes into Rillaboom, but that's fine. Rillaboom's main job in this game was for that early game. Yeah, they target Volk. Flame Body would be so huge here. Oh, Volcarona is so good. This Pokemon is unbelievable. Like, I think one thing I really love about this team is that, like, it puts the odds in your favor because you have multiple, like, 30% chances to burn. Actually, is Flame Body 30%? Is it 10%? Point being is you have Scald, which is 30% chance to burn. You have Flame Body with Volcarona as well. Yeah, it's not 30%, right? Actually, I want to double check that because I'm actually really curious. But the thing is now, because we get that burn, it should just be game over, honestly. Like, the Zacian just shouldn't be able to deal damage at this point in the game, and we have Zacian with Sacred Sword. So, like, I have an attack boost, I ignore your defense boosts. I don't have to be that worried about the Kommo-O. And then Lando Earth Power will clean up once Tailwind is over. Oh, I also have Whirlwind, by the way. Like, here, maybe the play is actually to just Whirlwind Kommo-O. They do have a +4 body press, which is a little bit scary. Maybe Volk was the right decision in the end then. Last turn of Tailwind. Okay, let's think this through. We have Whirlwind. They could sub, they could body press Zacian or protect with Kommo-O. Zacian will still deal some damage, but not really very much at this point in the game. Okay. I mean, it is the last turn of Tailwind. I think Swords Dance here into Rage Powder is fine. If Kommo subs, that's okay. I don't really care about that. Yeah, Zacian just Blades. I think if Zacian had subbed, this game would have been a lot harder. Maybe they do and they just didn't opt to go for it, but yeah, getting that Flame Body on the switching was so huge. They just body press. Perfect. That should... Oh, they're so... Wait, I thought they were lefties. Hold on, what? What? Did I just forget about Kommo's ability? I gotta double check that. I mean, it has to be its ability, right? It's Overcoat. Oh my goodness. Yeah, to be honest, I actually think we're still fine, but I completely forgot about Overcoat. I don't even think anyone else is running any other abilities. It's just been so long since I've seen that. Like, what that means is I always could have just switched out there. Yeah, it's 81% of Kommos are Overcoat. Oh my goodness, okay. Truth be told, it's fine, because I can just Earth Power here once again and Rage Powder. Actually, if you're my opponent, your play is to body press us here. I would protect Kommo and then switch Zacian out into Incin. I have sub here. Okay, I actually really like Sub plus Rage Powder. I completely forgot about Overcoat. Oh. Yeah, they switch. But if Kommo protects here, we just win the game. Yeah, okay. Well, I made this mistake so you all could learn. And that ignores powder-based moves. Like, the thing here... Okay, yeah, I think we're still fine, because they protected. What we needed to do to play safer was to withdraw Zacian out into Rillaboom, and then sack Rillaboom. Because, like, the thing is, Zacian just wins the game even without Swords Dance at that point in the match, especially because we had Whirlwind on Volcarona. But Sub also just saves us here. And that play always covered for every, like, possible combination my opponent could have gone for. So I'll just Earth Power and Fiery Dance here. Yeah, that Kommo was really scary. But I honestly think, like, them not bringing a Lecky made the matchup a lot easier for us. And I ultimately, like, do think we brought the right Pokemon. Volcarona was just so good into Zacian. Like, even if we didn't get that initial burn, the Rage Powder just makes it so difficult. Like, as you can see today, you know, Game 2, we got lucky, but their Volc was so difficult to deal with my Zacian, and Game 3 here, this Volcarona is amazing into them. Now we've kind of pinned them. They actually opt to not go for Fake Out. I think Earth Power should just get this knockout. Beautiful. Sub is so good for specifically the situation like this, too. Okay. Fiery Dance there is just to ensure the KO onto Kommo and or cover for a Zacian switch in. But I think because we had Sub here, they basically have no way around the end game that we had. Maybe it was to protect Kommo, go for a double, and then Parting Shot us. And the main value of Sub is just, like, blocking the recycling of Fake Outs in a position like this, or a game like this. Zacian comes in. Okay. Yeah, I mean, at this point, there's really not much my opponent can do, right? Like, Earth Power, even at -1, should probably KO Zacian. Excuse me. Instinct comes out. Yeah, we can just, Actually, Volc got a special attack boost. We can just Earth Power and Fiery, I mean, with the burn on Zacian, I really don't think there's any out for my opponent. I guess we can spread our damage here. Earth Power Instant, Fiery Dance into Zacian. The Volcarona set and the Suicune sets just give us so much more utility too. Like, the ability to Tailwind and Whirlwind, all that is so nice. But yeah, I completely forgot about Kommo's ability here, and we ended up getting crit there. But we had built such a large advantage that it didn't matter. And in the end, yeah, I don't think, like, I was really nervous about bringing Suicune, and in the end, I feel like it wouldn't have offered us that much, especially because I wasn't sure how our Zacian speeds would interact. So it's one where it's like, because we're so slow anyway, they're probably going to feel compelled to bring Tailwind to match our Tailwind. We actually utilize that to our advantage and basically say, hey, I was already planning on being slower than you anyway. You can set up your Tailwind all you want, but it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that was a wild, wild one. All right, one last one for the day, and this is a really cool team. Palkia, Primarina, Gengar, Incin, Goth, and Amoonguss. This screams Perish Song to me. Whirlwind on Volc is actually really interesting here because we can self-Whirlwind to get out of a trap. I'm just, like, struggling to figure out how I deal large amounts of damage quickly. Palkia is really scary, honestly. Yeah, who do I bring? I feel like Volc, Rilla, Urshifu, Zacian? Do I not bring Suicune? Suicune with Snarl is just helpful against Palkia, though, right? I don't know what they lead with. This is a really cool team comp, though. Like, I just want to learn more. I also have so many Fake Outs. Oh, it's only 2, but feels like a lot. I just don't want to lead passively because if they trap me in immediately and I lead passive, it's really bad. But I feel forced to bring Urshifu just to pressure Goth, which traps us in. I'm gonna try Urshifu, Suicune, Volcarona plus Zacian. I don't know about this one. I feel like it feels weird to not bring Rillaboom when they're restricted as Palkia. But I feel like it's hard to... I'm like trying to cover for Palkia, also trying to cover for like a late game Perish Song strategy. So, I don't know. This team is Very fascinating, though. It's super cool to see. Oh, yeah. Gengar Gothitelle. I feel like playing like BGC 2015 right now. That's cool. Obviously, Urshifu is pretty good here with Wicked Blow into either. Gengar does pressure with Will-O-Wisp. This thing is Fake Out, so I prefer to Detect turn 1 into Snarl. I feel like, I don't know, Fake Out Perish Song turn 1. Okay. Could be Trick Room on Gengar or Will-O-Wisp. Yeah, it is Perish Song. See, like, maybe I should have led Volcarona then, because I can at least self-Whirlwind, because now... Oh, you know what's good, though? Like, you can't protect in front of Urshifu. Normally, that's, like, the main tough thing about a matchup like this. And they're also Cobra and Goth, and we get rid of the Cobra immediately. Okay, that's really good. That's really good. Ah, that's not good. I definitely don't love that, but that's okay. I think I'm just gonna Wicked Blow Gothitelle and Scald. Maybe we want to Ice Beam it instead. Yeah, Ice Beam does slightly cover for a Palkia switch in better. Deals more damage. Goth doesn't have recovery. You can't protect here either. Okay, yeah. I mean, leading Urshifu is definitely... Oh... Well done. I didn't need to detect turn 1. I wasn't at risk of taking damage. Like, when you see this comp, it's so clearly Perish Song. I honestly didn't even... I totally forgot, or didn't know Gengar got Encore, honestly. That's really cool. That's honestly game over. I don't think... I can't come back from that, because I can't switch this next turn. 3% of Gengars run Encore, so it is listed. It's just the least common move on Pikalytics out of all the moves that are run. I literally have no way around this, right? Because, like... we shouldn't give up, I guess, but I don't see a way out. I'll play it out for, like, 2 more turns, but I'm fairly sure this is a 100% victory for my opponent. That is so cool. So cool. I honestly just never knew Gengar got access to Encore, so I learned something new today. Because, yeah, if I knew it at Encore, I would always just Wicked Blow turn 1, even if there is the threat of Will-O-Wisp there, but, oof. That's awesome. Okay, yeah, obviously I can only Detect here. You get Trick Room up. Yeah. Well played. So it's Cobra, Goth. Yeah, no, it's just not knowing Gengar gets Encore. Okay, with that. The thing is, this next turn, they just double switch, right? And the thing is, I literally can't deal damage with Urshifu. Like, that was literally just a 2-turn game win by my opponent. That was really cool. So, yeah, games like this are great, though, right? Because it's like, now every time I face a Gengar, I will expect Encore. Even if they don't have it, it's fine, but at least I'll know it's in its move pool. I just have never gone up against Encore Gengar here. Yeah, I'll play it out for 1 more turn, but we should double Feint here. Also, I guess with Perish Song, like, it is potentially possible to, like, misplay the game. But here, like, I can't even Snarl. But we do have slight comeback potential with an Ice Beam Freeze in this position. God can't actually Perish Song, so I'm going to Ice Beam the Gengar slot. Although I expect a double switch here. You also could just give up Gengar. If Incin. Yeah, I just, like... I went for Detect out of caution with Urshifu. I really didn't need to be cautious there. It's like, if they Will-O-Wisp us, so be it. We still have Wicked Blow. You can see they didn't even bring Palkia here. It's just hard Perish Song. Although, this actually means we can still come back. Especially because I did end up Ice Beaming into the Amoonguss slot. It's a check button. What did I bring as my 4th? Was it Volk? I needed to lead Volk. Like, Volk plus Urshifu would have been... Actually, our lead was fine. I just didn't know about Encore. That's so bad. That's so cool, though. I can't even be upset. And, like, hey, if you want to win in this format without a restricted Pokemon, look at the form my opponent brought. Beautifully done and, yeah, masterfully executed. The eject button is actually what loses it for us now, guaranteed, because now you just Fake Out Zacian and Perish Song. But once again, I'm not going to give up here because my opponent has to identify the right play, and if they actually, like, don't find it, we could always come back, but I'm sure they'll find it here. It just reminds me of the other game where my opponent quit when I was expecting Ally Switch on Shedinja on that Pangoro team. Yeah. Should be a wrap for them here. So if they fake out Zacian here and perish on with Gengar, I'll forfeit. But the thing is, even if it looks really bad, like, people can often misplay in endgames. And so, like, I typically don't like to forfeit unless it's, like, 100% over. Like, I know there's literally nothing in my power, not even something like my opponent misclicking or timing out. That could even remotely get me back into the game. But for example, for some reason, they don't click fake out here onto Zacian. Oh, I forgot about Trick Room this whole time. Never mind, then that was always... It's the same win con, just reversed. Instead of targeting Zacian, they had to target Volcarona. Yeah. And they correctly did. I forgot about Trick Room being up, and so I actually don't think Fiery Dance would have KO'd there anyway, but it doesn't make much of a difference. Now I assume they have Protect on Incin. We already know they have Protect on Amoonguss and Goth. And Amoonguss is at full. It's just funny because I went over this long-winded description. What I said actually doesn't change. It's still the idea of executing correctly. It's just there my opponent had to fake out Volcarona because Volcarona would outspeed a Gengar under Trick Room. So this is a match where if I just don't click Wicked Blow on turn 1, or if I don't click Detect on turn 1, we should just win. They had no damage, right? So they basically needed me to click Detect on turn 1. And it reminds me very much of... Okay, let's see. Focus Sash, Perish, Max Speed, Max HP... They did have Sludge Bomb. Shuka, this had Protect. Citrus, Primarina, Perish Song, Uber, Gothitelle. That's a cool Palkia set. No Hydro Pump or Spatial Rend. Wow. I wonder how often they bring Palkia, honestly. And eject Amoonguss. Like, the Palkia's moveset is kind of bizarre here, honestly. To not run Spatial or Hydro. I wonder if it's just like a bluff and my opponent's just, you know, trying to win most of the time without bringing the Palkia, which they did masterfully in that game. Either way, awesome team and great execution. So yeah, I think if, you know, if we were to replay it, not even against this opponent, if I were to play anyone now knowing Gengar, yeah, I would just like have to assume they have Encore. But this reminds me so much of the Players' Cup 2 Invitational, specifically where Ryota Otsubo was able to get a lot of wins by just going for Trick with Indeedee and tricking Choice Scarf onto like a Xerneas that was Geomancing, right? So it's like, tricks like that are so handy because so few people expect it. And Pokemon often is playing towards expectations, right? This game was essentially over after turn 2 if my opponent executed correctly. And they did that, right? They played every turn basically perfectly from there on out. So yeah, that was just really cool. And this team is, I mean, Perish Song isn't anything new, but yeah, I should know Gengar gets access to Encore. It's just been so long since I've seen that I honestly completely forgot about it. And like Gengar is so uncommon in this generation that I basically haven't seen it, you know, in Sword and Shield basically is what it feels like. But yeah, it's a very different style way to play the game and they executed it perfectly. So yeah, kudos to my opponent there. Anyway, that is going to be it for our time for today. So thank you so much as always for watching. If you enjoyed, please share support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. Hopefully you all learned something new today because I learned about Kommo-O and its ability. Once again, like, you know, these are things you would expect people to know. But at the end of the day, it's like these are Pokemon that are relatively uncommon. So it's just like games like these are perfect because it's like you learn it for the first time and then you remember it for the rest of the time that you play against these Pokemon. It's just I haven't played against either of these literally in like 200, 250 games. Kommo-O I have, but I haven't seen the interaction with it with Volcarona specifically. And even though that ability is obvious, it's just, and it's the most commonly used ability, it's just like sometimes the mistakes are really what help you learn the most. And that's exactly what we learned from both games 3 and 4 today. So yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching and I'll see you all soon. Peace.